Oh, damn, we about to be live. Hold on. Oh, we live. We live. All right, let's get right into it. All right, mic check, mic check.
1, 2. What is this?
Let me get these headphones on properly. Oh man, Super Dave, how you feeling?
Feeling good, man.
Oh man, me too, man. Me too, man. First week of the NFL season down. You know, we got some NBA offseason news going. We got a lot of stuff going on, man. It's a lot of stuff to talk about. Pick and Roll Podcast, episode 22 is me, Chris. I'm here with my man, Super Dave. We here to talk about everything that happened in the last 7-8 days in sports since the last episode. You know, we try to stay on schedule here, trying to be the model of consistency and continuity. You know what I mean? That's one of the things about sports. So being sports fans, availability is the best ability. You know what I mean? It's something I want to touch on last week that we never got to speak on. It was Naomi Osaka taking an extended break from tennis for a while. I wanted to know your thoughts on that because I know we had opinions about it prior to us taking the mid-season break or whatever. But I want to know your opinions on Naomi Osaka needing to step away.
Think she just needed to recharge her battery.
So you think it's a battery recharge,
Yeah.
and it's not like a larger thing?
No, I think it's just a battery recharge, and I just like with being the world's number one, number two, whatever ranking she was, like you got to realize like the spotlight is gonna be on you,
Yeah.
and with you being that good. So I think it was just a battery recharge, but then she lost in the U.S. Open. Lost in the Olympics and then lost in the U.S. Open.
That's why I'm thinking it's a larger issue. And I wonder, I honestly, I believe she's crumbling under the pressure, right? It's all the things with the media and then, you know, just the way she's dealt with it. Instead of like confronting it, I think it's gotten the best of her. And I honestly, I'm one of those people, I don't think the media is doing anything wrong. You know,
their job.
Yeah, they're just doing their job. They're being a lot nicer to her than they are with a lot of people. Some of your biggest athletes in the world, you know, they get it way worse than she's getting it. She's just having a really tough time handling questions.
Yeah.
Like just handling the idea of being questioned she's really struggling with it right now. I personally think it's a larger issue and she's kind of crumbling right now. You know, and I'm hoping I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But this needing to step away and things like that, you know, if she was the first person, you know, that was ever in her position, I would understand. But there's been so many, and you got to draw from somewhere. Someone else has figured this out.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of people around that can help. There's plenty of resources now in today's world. You have the internet. You can go see specialists. You can go see whoever you want to see. You know, but
different people handle that situation differently. You know, I guess some people have thicker skin than others.
Here's what I'm gonna say, right? Now, I don't believe it's the thing, but people always talk about mental health. Do you feel like male athletes are afforded the same mental health? I guess I don't want to say excuse, right? But the same mental health provision that female athletes are.
Yeah, I think it's the same, but I think they want to use like I'm not saying mental health is not real.
Yeah,
like it's very much real in today's world, and I just think to some athletes, male or female, when things aren't going their way, they pull that card.
That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Like once things aren't going your way, that card is being pulled, and then you know what I mean, everybody just gonna sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, because for me it's tough. Like where's the line between mental health, a person having a mental health episode, or a person just going through something, right? Hardship. Where's the line? That's what I want to know. It's hard to determine and distinguish that in today's society because everyone seems to, you know, like you said, anytime they run into some sort of obstacle, it's got to be a much deeper issue than rather saying like, hey, they're having a tough time. It's a hard time learning the playbook. I'm having a tough time with the new level of training. I'm having a tough time dealing with fame. Is that part of a larger disorder or something that needs to be clinically diagnosed? I'm not sure about that. Yeah. I just think, hey, these are the hardships of being someone in the public eye. And there are plenty of other professions that you can choose that won't have you in the public eye to this degree. But this is what you chose. And the best way is always to learn how to deal with it, to cope with it, and to overcome it. Like, where is the idea that we should overcome things now? I think that time is over now.
Yeah, everybody want to take the easy way out.
Right. Everybody wants to fold and seek out support rather than learn how to conquer it yourself. And I think that's where I don't know if people look at that as triumphs like previous generations. But then again, on the other hand, people can say in previous generations, well, look at all the bad things that happened to people who didn't deal with mental health. So, and that's a fair argument. It's a fair point to be made. Yeah. But I don't know. I wish there was more of, you have to overcome this. We're standing behind you while you fight this fear. We're going to help you defeat this fear rather than watch you, wilt and crumble, and then watch innocent people in the media get blamed for doing their jobs. This is not like when the tennis reporter asked Serena, hey, are you intimidated by Sharapova's beauty? Remember that? Hey, that was absurd. That's the kind of stuff where it's like, all right, that's disrespectful. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, this is just like, hey, so how do you balance, your social media and, then we get tears. So I don't know. I really hope she does better because she's so young. She's so gifted. She's not even in her prime yet. Right. And she's already this great.
Yeah, she's on.
I just needed to
on the track.
I just want a whole different outlook on a lot of this. Yeah. Because if that's mental health, then what is Ben Simmons going through? What is Markelle Fultz going through? What about Cam Newton?
What about the guy that just went 0 for 11 at the plate? Like, what is he going through?
Yeah. Is that mental health? There's a lot of struggling hitters.
3 field goals. Like,
yeah, there's guys batting 164. There's a lot of issues, with a lot of different athletes. And I don't hear mental health brought up a lot of times. It's, you need to get in the gym. You need to do better. You need to do this, which I don't disagree with.
Right.
Sticking with that, though, Ben Simmons report just came out today that Ben Simmons, the Sixers are planning on keeping him. They figure if we just keep finding him up to $308,000 a day during training camp, he'll eventually show up. Because if you miss 10 days of training camp, that's $3.8 million or $3.08 million. That's a lot of money. I mean, how do you see this playing out? Do you think Ben is really ready to just give that money up to get out of town? Is it that deep, I should say?
Nah, I don't think it's deep. I don't think it's that deep. He might hold out for like the first couple of days.
Yeah.
But once he see that check getting light, he's going to report.
Well, and that's what's crazy, right? Like, all right, you have this contract that Rich Paul helped you sign. So Rich Paul's getting a percentage, whatever, 5% or 8% or whatever.
Yeah, like 5%.
Yeah, and if he's advising you, shouldn't he shoulder some of that bill? Like, if it's all honorable. I know that's not how it works, but if I'm Ben, I'm saying, hey, you want to split this 308 a day, 150K a day, me and you? Show me you're really committed to getting me to a good situation.
Yeah, show me you got my back.
Exactly. Like,
my pocket's getting hit, your pocket's getting hit.
Exactly. Yeah, let's do this together, right? We're a team. So I'm wondering, I honestly think the Sixers have all the leverage here.
They do.
Because they don't have to accept any old deal. And his contract is so massive. Not a lot of teams that have a chance to compete are willing to take on a guy with his current situation. If he can't shoot here, there's a good chance he can't shoot wherever he's going. So who wants to take that problem on?
Nobody.
Exactly. Nobody of note. So that's why you're looking at Cleveland, Sacramento, Houston.
For John Wall?
No, that's a horrible trade. I saw that trade. Listen. All right, we're going to go ahead and tie this one in. John Wall and the Rockets have agreed to find him a new destination. John Wall has about 3 years left at 40, or 2 years left at 40-something million. I think it's 92 million.
91.2.
Okay, so he's in the last 2 years of the deal. $91.2 million on the table. First of all, I heard buyout being thrown around by some amateur sports minds. No one's going to buy him out at 60 to 70% of that just to walk away. That is absurd.
And
that's people's money.
And John Wall is not going to agree to a buyout, because if you agree to a buyout, you have to give money back.
Yeah.
And if I'm him,
I'm not giving nothing back.
Absolutely.
If
not.
you're John Wall.
Absolutely not.
But him agreeing to find a new home with the Rockets, I'm going to start it off like this. Who do you think should trade for John Wall and to match that salary?
Nobody.
$45 million a year.
Who has the money that could even take that on?
First of all, who has the cap? Second of all, who has the matching salary?
Nobody.
Russell Westbrook? But why would you make that trade? Westbrook's healthy. John Wall's not.
Yeah.
And Russell Westbrook is a much better all-around basketball player on every level except for scoring than John Wall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Russell Westbrook crossed him up and made him fall last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I've heard that John Wall for Ben Simmons, and this is the most egregious, ridiculous trade proposal I've ever heard in my life.
So I'm guessing you don't want that.
Not at all. Not at all.
I thought you were a John Wall guy.
Never was a John Wall guy. I predicted 3 years ago he'd be 30 years old with 2 bad knees. And I'm not here saying I wish that on him. I thought he was going to get it from his style of play, right? Mm-hmm. Depending on your athleticism, when you don't have a well-rounded offensive game and you haven't learned as the point guard to get your best shooters and your best scorers involved, i.e. Bradley Beal, at the time, Satoransky, you had some real guys that could put the ball in the bucket. When you haven't figured out how to get them the ball, and all you do is depend on your athleticism and isolation, we've seen this movie before. You're not a big guy, so your body's eventually going to break down. You're taking more punishment than you're dishing out. Mm-hmm. So when I thought that was going to happen to him 3 years ago at age 30, I just thought it was going to happen naturally, right. Just from wear and tear. I had no idea he was going to get hurt, then hurt himself while he was rehabbing. So he was going to tear his ACL in one knee, then tear his Achilles in the other leg in a slip and fall, quote unquote, accident at home.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And he's only played 40 games since 2018. He's done. I don't see him having an explosion. Last year, he had a hard time keeping his legs under him. It just wasn't good to watch him like that. And I'm not somebody, I don't wish any ill will on John Wall, but he's one of those players from an era that doesn't exist anymore. Mm-hmm. The NBA does not need players like that. Lance Stevenson doesn't have a job because of that type of basketball. Mm-hmm. Right now, contrary to what people think, yeah, it's a three-point league. Yeah, it's a lot of shooting. It's a lot of running the floor. You need to be able to distribute the ball if you have it in your hand.
Yeah. I mean, we all thought it was a bad deal when Washington re-signed him for the 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
We all thought that was a bad deal because he got hurt the year before that new deal kicked in.
Mm-hmm.
So now it's like, you see what you're investing in. Now it's too late because you done signed him for that money.
And I've it's well known that as soon as he signed that deal, I said the Wizards are going to regret this immediately. This is the worst contract in professional sports. And he got hurt immediately. I had no idea injury was going to play, but he didn't deserve that money then, and not for your team. A sign and trade somewhere, if somebody else wanted to take that on, cool. I always thought he should have went to Miami at that time. He should have gone down there. You could have paired him up with Jimmy Butler let him sit, let him get healthy. I don't know how things play out, but I always thought he should have just gone somewhere else. It's somewhere that could tolerate it. Right. You know what I mean? His style of play. It's going to be very interesting to see if he gets out of Houston, because at this point you're going to have to deactivate him, just sit him on the sideline, and then what are you going to do with him?
Nobody can take that on.
No,
nobody.
No, man.
So it's going to be a Deshaun Watson situation.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Going back to Ben Simmons, instead of holding out, he should opt in. That's the new word in football, to where you're reporting to training camp.
Yeah.
And you're just doing individual workouts. You're not doing anything with the team. So you're there. They can't find you because you're there.
See, I'm not sure if the NBA allows it like the Steelers allowed it. Right. I'm not even sure. I think that was the Steelers thing. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to cross TJ Watt at this point.
No, Seattle was doing it. Dwayne Brown did it.
Oh, Dwayne Brown did it. So opt-in is a thing. It's a sit-in, pretty much.
Yeah, that's what they were calling a sit-in.
Yeah.
And then The safety for Seattle did it. Not both safeties, as a matter of fact. Adams did it.
Jamal Adams.
Jamal Adams did it, and then the other safety, I forgot his name, but he did it. But the other safety, he didn't. They didn't redo his deal. He just started participating. But Dwayne Brown wound up getting like I think 2 or 3 million added onto his deal.
Oh wow. Okay.
So, and then they made it fully guaranteed.
Maybe Ben Simmons can't do that. Maybe the Sixers will tolerate that, but they can always send him home and say he's in breach. And it can get dirty if they want. Like there's a lot of recourse there because I'm pretty sure there's no specific contract language that says I'm pretty sure there's room to argue. Right. Because it's not something that's really been done before and that they dealt with. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. But as far as John Wall, I think he's just going to be sent home, or they're just going to have him show up to the facility, try to get in the best shape he can, and just wear street clothes while, and hope that he's healthy enough to trade at the deadline.
Yeah, they might as well just do what Cleveland did with Andre Drummond last year.
And like they're doing with Kevin Love.
With Blake Griffin. Just go home. Just chill out until we figure something out.
Right. You can still use the facility. Come here. We'll buy you a Peloton.
Yeah.
Just keep yourself going.
Yeah. Get your treatment in.
Right.
Just have a nice day.
Yeah, that's wild. And it's weird because I heard this discussion earlier this morning on the way into the office, and it was the Rockets are saying, they released a statement saying, oh, Houston wants to be the kind of organization that affords veteran players the ability to go compete somewhere else, as if they're doing him a favor.
What are they, distribution center?
I don't know. Yeah, because you have no chance at being good, and he's not movable. So why do you release this statement as if you're the place that looks out for stars toward the end of their careers and puts them in good positions? That's absurd.
What are they, last chance you?
That's what I'm saying. It was the craziest statement I ever heard. And if you're the Houston Rockets fan base, you're not trying to win games. You want me to buy a ticket, and you don't want to try to even compete. You want me to come watch Christian Wood carry the load in the draft pick they just picked up. Jalen Green. I got to watch Christian Wood and Jalen Green play in the West.
So what are you giving them? 20 wins?
17. 17 wins for the Houston Rockets. And I'm being generous right now.
17.
I think they win even less if John Wall plays. They'd probably go on another one of them 18-game losing streaks again.
I think they're going to do that regardless.
Yeah, it's going to be bad, man. And I just think that's one of the things. I don't like hearing teams openly admit that they're not doing right by their fans. I have a real problem with that.
I'm seeing multiple 10+ losing streaks.
Yeah. Yeah, it could very well be the losingest team because a lot of teams have gotten better in the NBA.
Yeah.
And they are clearly the worst.
Yeah, it's not even
close. By far. Orlando might be down there with them.
Orlando got like some decent pieces to where they can be.
But they traded away their nucleus pretty much, right? Like they bottomed out.
Yeah. But I still think that they're not going to compete for a playoff spot, but they'll compete more than Houston.
Yeah, that's going to be bad. I'm wondering who the worst team in the NBA is, and it's got to be Houston.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, Orlando's pretty bad though. We're gonna revisit this, man. I'm telling you, it's dark times in Orlando.
Shout out to my god brother Mo, man. He's a Rockets fan.
He's a Rockets fan.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Prayers
up for Mo, man. I'm sending healing energy, man, for his basketball season this year.
Steve Francis was his guy.
Oh, I got you. That's not bad. I thought Otis Thorpe was his guy, or Kevin Willis. Or was it Scotty Burrell? But all right. Any other NBA news? Did we hit the NBA?
Yeah, we touched.
Yeah, NBA is pretty quiet right now.
NBA is pretty quiet.
Lakers didn't sign anybody that's to the 40 and up team.
DeAndre Jordan.
They did sign DeAndre Jordan. Yeah, that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't. Yeah.
And Rondo, like.
Like
what the Lakers is. Last season, you were one of the worst 3-point shooting teams in the league, and then
you got bigger and slower,
and then you did not address that need.
You got bigger, slower, and you added one-dimensional players all across the board. It's going to be fun. I want to see how many minutes, because Carmelo Anthony is the best player on that bench by far. he probably is the fourth best player on that team. I want to know how many minutes Carmelo Anthony's going to try to play before we just see utter depreciation. Like, at what point in the season is the stamina just going to go off the cliff with these guys? Because we know Bron likes his sabbaticals. Anthony Davis is going to need his recovery time. What's going to happen to this team? That is going to be a sight to see.
It is.
How are these guys going to play these minutes? Malik Monk better be stretched, man, every single night. Him and Horton Tucker.
Night.
Listen, man. And then these guys got to get ready to get blamed when they lose.
Yes.
Oh, man, Horton Tucker's not providing anything. We got to trade him.
Wayne Ellington will be released mid-season.
Yeah. People are going to be like, oh, man, well, of course they can't win because Horton Tucker and Wayne Ellington are contributing. That's because they're guarding Kawhi. That's because they're in the low post with Jokic.
I tell people that they didn't address shooting, and then they counter that with Wayne Ellington shot 40%.
Oh, wow.
Malik Monk shot 40-something%. Kent Bazemore shot 40-something%.
Kent Bazemore.
So what I say is, it's easy to shoot 40-something% when you're not taking that many shots.
Yeah, exactly. I shot 40% yesterday when I went to the hoop. I went 2 for 5. There we go. 2 for 5, right, everybody.
And keeping it basketball, the Basketball Hall of Fame.
Basketball Hall of Fame. Let's talk about it, man. Paul Pierce got in. These are notable names. Chris Bosh got in. And
Ben Wallace got in.
Ben Wallace. Chris Webber too, right?
Chris Webber got in.
Tony
Kukoc got in.
Kukoc is in.
Yes.
And a bunch of other names. There was a lot of people on the women's side. Cotton Fitzsimmons, legendary coach.
Rick Edelman got in too.
Rick Edelman, yeah. Great coach.
And then the notable female was Yolanda Griffin.
Okay.
Deservingly, she got in.
Oh, yeah. I didn't have any qualms
Griffin
with any of the women that got in because they were all standout superstars as far as women's basketball goes.
Yeah, I was fine with Rick Edelman getting in because, fun fact, did you know he has never had a losing season as a head coach?
I always remember Rick Edelman putting out solid teams. Yeah. And he had times when they were wildly competitive.
Yeah. All his Portland teams with Drexler and Terry Porter.
Yep.
All his Sacramento teams.
Sacramento, yeah. He really went from team to team, man. Never had a losing season. Let's talk about the guys at the top of the list.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just play a game of Do You Agree? All right. Let's start with Chris Webber. Do you agree he's a Hall of Famer?
No.
Why not?
He didn't do anything.
Okay.
He didn't do anything. He was the best player on a very good Sacramento Kings team.
I agree.
They could never get over the hump. It was just he just had a solid NBA career.
Now that's been my problem with Chris Webber, right? I would say he's had a good NBA career, but he's never given us that signature performance when the series was on the line. It always seemed like there was a gear he just couldn't hit.
Yeah.
He was always going to hover around that 20 and 12, 25 and 12, 26 and 12, because he was a scoring machine. Chris Webber from the Warriors, Bullets, all the way to the Kings. Chris Webber, when he came to Philly, he really was mailing it in.
Detroit, he was just
he was mailing it in Philly and Detroit, so he wasn't even trying at that point.
So we're not even going to talk about
it. Yeah, we're not going to talk about that. But I would say there was always a gear that we were waiting for him to hit. And all of the Hall of Fame power forwards have those signature games where they just dominated and took over. Tim Duncan had several of those games in the NBA Finals and NBA playoffs where you're like, man, I remember Timmy put the team on his back, put the city on his back. We rode him to victory. Charles Barkley, Western Conference Finals, Game 7, 44 and 24. Where is Chris Webber's game like that? Karl Malone, several games. He goes to the finals, gives Jordan and the Bulls probably the best series out of anyone in history. You know, the best NBA Finals Michael Jordan and the Bulls ever played were against the Utah Jazz, and that was because Karl Malone, right? There was the centerpiece along with John Stockton. We never got that game from Chris Webber.
No, we like you said, we got it from Karl.
Yeah,
we got it from Chuck. We got it from Dirk.
Yeah,
we got big games from Sheed. We got big games from KG. We never got that big game from Weber.
And part of that, my problem is all the guys we named impacted the game heavily on the defensive end when it mattered.
Yes.
I don't recall Chris Webber impacting the game at the defensive end the way these other guys did. And that's been one of my issues.
And as far as on the defensive end, not more of Dirk of his defense, but what Dirk lacked on defense was his ability to score at will.
Yeah. Yeah, his offense was his defense. Yeah. So we'll give Dirk that. Dirk is like, when I put him in Hall of Fame, he's just on the other side of, you got it. Because to me, he was never like a top 3 power forward at any point in his career. But also, Hall of Fame, it is what it is. They're letting everybody in now.
Yeah. See, Dirk is going to get in because he pretty much won that championship by himself.
Yeah.
And the same reason why we're going to touch on Toni Kukoc, what Dirk did overseas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what gets a lot of them overseas guys into the Hall of Fame, because it's called the Basketball Hall of Fame, not NBA.
Yeah, it's the James Naismith Hall of Fame.
So they're taking what you did over there and then bringing it combined to what you did over here.
It's like the Nobel Prize. Everybody's involved.
Yeah.
All right, so we're talking about the Hall of Fame. The next name, Chris Bosh.
No.
I agree. But
no.
For devil's advocate, 2 out of 4 finals, they won. They went to 4 finals in a row. He was one of the big 3, and he won 2 championships.
He was Alfred.
He was Alfred the Butler, the Batman and Robin.
Yes.
I don't disagree with that comparison, right?
Alfred.
I say he was more like Commissioner Gordon, right?
No, he was Alfred.
Oh, he was Alfred? Okay, all right. But in your opinion, why doesn't Chris Bosh make it?
Because I just think he didn't do enough. Like, like his career was cut short because of, the blood clots or whatever. But I just think like he didn't do enough. Like in Toronto, he was the man in Toronto, but could never get them to no playoff series, could never get them to a series win, nothing.
Yeah.
And then he go to Miami, and then he has to be Alfred. I'm gonna walk away from 24-12, and I'm gonna come down here and I'm gonna do 18-8, and then I'm gonna become a 3-point shooter, because now I'm never gonna go back to the block unless LeBron is out of the game. I'm gonna become a 3-point shooter. I'm just gonna be Alfred, and I'm gonna get a ring. And when I get this ring, they're gonna say, "Oh, I was a big part of it because I was a part of the big 3."
And he came out of high school.
No, he didn't.
No,
he did. He went to Georgia Tech.
He did go to Tech. I don't know why I thought he only played 1 year at Tech, right? That's why. I think he was really young. Like he was like 18 or something when he came in. All right. My thing is, I go off of how I felt when they were at their best and how I viewed them amongst the top players of the time. I don't give the amount of all-stars he's had the same weight, because a lot of people have been NBA all-stars that aren't really all-stars. All all-stars aren't all-stars. So I go off of remembering basketball in that era. Chris Bosh was never in the conversation of top 6 or 7 power forwards.
No.
He was never that guy to me.
Until he got to Miami, when a lot of them other guys were pretty much done.
They were done up. Yeah. Dirk was older, even though Dirk got the best of them in that series.
KG
and won the ring over
KG was older.
KG was older, yeah.
You know what I mean? She was gone pretty much. Like, so when Bosh went to Miami, his numbers of 24-12, and then on top of the other guys getting older, put him at top 3 or 4 at power forward at that time.
Chris Bosh's numbers in in Toronto, were just like Kevin Love's numbers in Minnesota. And I'm not like, it's hard to put up 24-12, but you're the best of a bad situation.
Right.
You've had to go play with arguably the fourth greatest player of all time, third greatest player of all time, if you want to, who depending on who you ask. You had to go play with him to get a ring, and you were greatly diminished in that role.
You had to go play with probably, well, we're not going to say probably, the best player in the league at the time, which was LeBron.
Yeah.
And then you're going to play with the second best shooting guard in the league at the time.
Yeah.
And D Wade behind Kobe. So now you're just stepping into that to where it's like, I don't really have to do much.
No.
I could just be on the court.
I have to be better than Joel Anthony.
Yes.
Or Birdman. I got to take Birdman's
better
job.
than Juwan Howard. Like, yeah. I have to be just better than them. And when I get a ring, I'm going to, that's just like we're doing a project and they did all the work, but I'm going to get the A because I was a part of the group.
Joel Anthony, man. And that's pretty much how I look at his best years with those monster numbers. I remember how I felt about that guy. He wasn't Pau Gasol. He was not anywhere near Pau Gasol's level. Couldn't tie his shoes. We would never put Chris Bosh in that conversation. He wasn't even Kenyon Martin.
No.
He wasn't even Kmart.
Because Kmart had a big role in the Nets going to the finals back-to-back years.
And he wasn't even Amari at the time.
No.
This is why I tell people Amari Stoudemire should be in the Hall of Fame if you're going to put Chris Bosh in there. If you're going to put Chris Webber in there. Because this guy was really the centerpiece of Phoenix, right? Like, if Steve Nash doesn't have a big man, none of that happens. Especially a big man that can rim run and score at will like Amari was. Amari was possibly the most dominant big man in the Western Conference when he was in Phoenix in his prime.
Yeah.
Right before he went to New York.
Yeah.
He was the premier big man out west. And I think people got to remember that. How did you feel about Chris Bosh with Toronto? And he only had 4 seasons in Miami. How did that can't, and he didn't do it internationally. He won, I guess. He was on the
he was just a guy.
Yeah.
He was a guy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We sound like haters though. To people who love celebrities and the people who love athletes more than they should, rather than listening to this objective conversation, we're bringing up facts. Yeah. People are gonna have a problem with this. They're gonna say we're haters.
We're gonna touch on all the people that got in the Hall of Fame NBA wise, and I'm gonna say no to a lot of them. I'm gonna say no to it because that's the same thing that I was telling people on Facebook about Bosh. He didn't do anything outside of the NBA.
Yeah.
What can you say? Oh, Bosh did this. That's the nod. No, he didn't. I don't get it. I don't think he did enough. That's just like his numbers retired in Miami. He did not do enough in Miami to get his jersey retired.
Yeah.
I just think his jersey got retired because of the career-ending ailment he had. He didn't do enough to get his number retired.
Yeah, because it's not like Miami hadn't been to the finals before and won.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, it's not like, we're
going to make a lot of Heat fans mad.
Yeah. I say if Memphis Grizzlies, they go to the finals this year and Gasol's still on the roster, retire his jersey because he did something that y'all never thought y'all would see.
Right.
One day, Drew Holiday's number is going to get retired in Milwaukee. He's only there for a year so far, and he might only be there for another year or so, or another 2 years, right? But he'll get it because what Milwaukee has endured and what he brought home, what he helped bring home. Let's talk about Ben Wallace because I made this case with analytics. I put my Nick Wright hat on Facebook a while back and made the case for Ben Wallace. He was an amazing player when it came to impacting the game statistically. And defensive win shares and all of those nerdy analytical stats that I really don't care for. But when you look at Ben Wallace, he's off the charts in so many different areas. How do you feel about that? Because I'm torn. I remember who Ben Wallace was, but to me, he was more deficient at scoring than Ben Simmons was.
Yeah, I think with the Ben Wallace situation, he just happened to be in a great spot he was in a great situation to succeed because that team, Larry Brown built a defensive team.
Yeah.
Kind of what he was trying to build with the Sixers,
Mm-hmm.
but he just didn't have that AI scorer.
But he also wasn't given the minutes either
Who?
when he was with Washington and Orlando.
Yeah.
They just had him sitting on the bench. I remember reading the articles like, hey, Washington's best rebounder is not Kwame Brown, or not. Well, no, Kwame wasn't there yet. It was the guys before him. I can't remember their names, all their names.
Jahadi White.
Jahadi White and those guys. And but they were like, yo, the best rebounder is sitting on the bench, and this guy is a monster. He's a force. When he finally got the opportunity, he shined.
Mhm.
Right. So I give him that, as a cleanup man role. He was a glass cleaner all day, and he was grabbing those boards.
And he was absolutely horrible when he signed that big deal in Chicago.
Yeah, he was.
I'm hurt, but we're not talking about the Chicago days.
But I'll give you I'll say that. Like, analytically, he was amazing in his time in Detroit. He had, here's his rebounding numbers from the years in Detroit for each year: 13.2, 13, 15.4, 12.4, 12.2, 11.3, 10.7. But here's the scoring numbers: 6.4, 7.6, 6.9, 9.5, 9.7, 7.3, and then 6.4.
He knew his job.
He knew his job.
He knew what put food on his table.
He was a 4-time All-Star, 2-time rebounding champ. He led the league in blocks one year, 6-time All-Defensive Team, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, and 5 All-NBAs. I think that's what gets you in. 5 All-NBA teams, 4-time Defensive Player of the Year.
You know what? Since Ben Wallace got in with those defensive numbers,
yeah,
and horrible offensive numbers, Dwight Howard's going to get in.
Dwight Howard should get in compared to today's standard because he was actually a scorer.
Yeah.
It didn't happen in the prettiest way. He was just like all around the basket, but Dwight Howard was a scorer, and he was a legit superstar.
I give you okay.
And he led a team to the finals too.
Yeah, I give you Ben.
Yeah, and that's where I'm on the fence with Ben. Right? It's not an outright no, but 4-time Defensive Player of the Year is no joke. But my problem is, in a league that always stresses offense and buckets, you let Ben Wallace in. How many other people are you not letting in that were defensive virtuosos?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like, is that what Ben Simmons is angling for? Like, I'm trying to be get my defensive players of the year will get me here. I don't know. It's like, oh, now you guys care about defense? I don't know. It's weird. And he was from a time where they still allowed defense.
Yeah.
And scores were much lower.
Yeah. So I'll give you Ben. Like, I was on the fence with Ben too, but I mean, you make them points. And I read something. He has more blocks than fouls, and he has more steals than turnovers.
Yeah, that's what it's looking like. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, he definitely averaged what you're saying. I'm looking at those right now. So, all right, here's another one. Paul Pierce. Let's get to it. They're going to say we're haters. Shout out to everybody that's tuning in. I see people jumping in and out of the live stream. We're going to repost this one once it's done on Facebook. Paul Pierce.
What got him in the hall was the ring.
Definitely the ring.
And with him being first or second in Boston scoring.
Mm-hmm.
That's what got him in. I've been on the record saying that Paul Pierce was just a guy in Boston putting up big numbers on a bad team.
For a lot of years, we're going back to how we felt watching this play out with him and Antoine Walker.
Yes.
They were not a serious team.
No. They were two guys pretty much telling the organization, we are going to take 100 shots apiece and we're going to go down with the ship.
Exactly.
They were a fringe playoff team with them. Paul Pierce wanted out because they couldn't win. And then they get KG and Ray Allen. And then now Paul Pierce is just such a great Hall of Famer.
KG and Ray Allen should have gotten a piece of that trophy. He should rip off like two sleeves on the jacket or whatever and hand one to KG and Ray Allen for getting him in.
I personally think Ray Allen should have won Finals MVP the year they beat the Lakers.
Probably.
Ray Allen averaged about 20-something points a game and set the record for most threes in the finals.
What's wild is people credit Paul Pierce with like containing or shutting Kobe down, but that was a mutually ugly series from Kobe and Paul Pierce.
Yeah,
it was just those teams were tired and they had beat each other up,
and it just that Boston had KG and Ray Allen to pick up the slack.
Exactly.
Kobe didn't. Who he had?
He had Lamar and Paul, but KG and Ray Allen had been in those wars before. Lamar and Powell hadn't been there before. So that was their first rodeo. When I look at Paul Pierce's career, the only thing separating him from Chris Webber is the opportunity to play with two elite Hall of Famers.
Mm-hmm.
Paul Pierce played with two guys who were franchise aircraft carriers.
Yes.
They carried cities.
Yes.
Like people don't remember how great Ray Allen was.
Yes.
Ray Allen should be held in the highest of regard.
Yes.
Paul Pierce is Chris Webber with the ring.
Yes.
And I honestly, I don't think he should get in either.
I don't think he should.
If we were really grading greatness, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I never got down with his nickname, The Truth. I know people are going to say I'm a hater, but listen, a lot of people were getting buckets during that era in the NBA.
Well, Shaq gave him that nickname. So.
Are we going to call Gilbert Arenas The Truth? Because at some point, I feel like he'll get in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah. They'll just, oh, man, remember that one time you scored 60?
Yeah.
Hall of Fame.
And you made a couple All-Stars.
Yeah. Remember that max contract?
You're in.
Yeah. I'm like, look. People forget Rashard Lewis was getting those kind of buckets at the same time Paul Pierce was. And he went to a finals. He was a big major piece on that team that lost the finals to the Lakers.
Yeah, he definitely was.
So are we gonna let Rashard Lewis in? He was a 3-point marksman. He was one of the better stretch fours of his time.
Yeah, he was part of the original.
Rashard Lewis was a max player. It was a superstar in Seattle.
Rashard Lewis was one half of the first Splash Brothers.
Yes.
Him and Ray Allen was just
giving out work. That's what it was. They were giving out work like a temp agency out there.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Like this Hall of Fame, man, it's a lot of controversy around it. It's a lot of controversy. I think.
Last one, Tony Kukoc.
Tony Kukoc, overseas, he won those rings with Chicago. So, I get it.
Yeah. Like, I posted on Facebook, Tony, and then, good brother Walt was saying, I can't praise Tony and then down Paul Pierce.
He got, what, 4 rings?
Tony, 3.
3. He got 3. Oh, okay.
He played in Chicago 3 years, and they went to the final 3 times.
Okay.
But like I told Walt, and then I told T. Will, like, I'm not saying that Tony Kukoc's NBA career was...
It wasn't good.
Because, no, it was shit.
Yeah, I remember.
Sorry for my language, but
I remember when he came to the Sixers. Tony Kukoc was one of the most disappointing players this city has ever seen, because he couldn't play without Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Right, but what got him in was the
overseas record. The overseas credentials.
And me and Walt was going back and forth about it.
Okay, shout out to Walt.
And then my guy Joe also made a good point about the Paul Pierce and Tony Kukoc Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Tony Kukoc actually has a better resume than Paul Pierce.
Wow. Let's pull up Tony Kukoc's resume.
Pull it up. But besides the Celtics championship, what has Paul Pierce ever won?
Nothing outside of that. Nothing. I mean, college, Paul Pierce was a great player at Kansas.
And Kansas didn't win a national championship.
They didn't.
So besides the ring in Boston, he hasn't won anything.
Shout out to Rafe LaFrentz, man.
Scott Pollard,
yeah. Let's see. All right, looking at Tony Kukoc's credentials, right? 3-time NBA champion, FIBA championship MVP in 1990. He was the MVP of the EuroLeague, 3-time EuroLeague champion, 3-time EuroLeague Final Four MVP, NBA Sixth Man of the Year, FIBA's 50 Greatest Players in 1991. That's wild. But that was in 1991, so they had never seen anything like Tony Kukoc before, so I get it. So he had a bunch of top scoring. He was Player of the Year in a lot of the overseas leagues. Let's see. He won a bunch of championships. NBA All Rookie Second Team. Yeah. His resume for what the Naismith Hall of Fame does is, much more extensive than Paul Pierce. There's no argument here. He's got 3 rings. Only thing Paul Pierce has is volume of numbers.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
Volume of numbers. That's it. But I just distinctly remember Paul Pierce not being able to play respectable basketball without Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman.
Oh, Tony Kukoc.
Yeah, Tony Kukoc. Yeah. Tony Kukoc. Yeah. That's what I mean. He was not able to do anything.
No.
I've never seen a player look so
lost.
Yeah, lost without Chicago.
Yes.
I mean, he was so terrible, man. I don't even want to. He was useless. He was a useless basketball player. All right, so shout out to the Hall of Fame, everybody that got in. Let's talk about the NFL, man. Week 1 is in the books. What was the game of the week in your opinion? The best game to watch?
I want to say the Raiders in Baltimore Monday night.
That was a wild one. I fell asleep before the end of the game, and I woke up maybe an hour after the game ended, so I saw the highlights, and I was like, "What?" I fell asleep in the fourth quarter. I think it was 14-10 at the beginning of the fourth quarter. I wake up. It was what was the final score?
33-27.
33-27. I said, "What the hell happened?" So then when I saw the highlights, I said, "Wow, that was a great game." I'm happy for the Raiders. I'm happy for Derek Carr, man.
Yeah, I was in Vegas watching the game in a hot tub.
I saw that.
And I was surrounded by Raider fans. We're in Vegas, so
how did they feel when they when the interception in overtime?
When they scored the touchdown that was called back because the guy's knee was on the ground, they went wild.
Yeah,
they went wild. And then the interception happened, and then there was a Raven fan jumps in the pool because he thinks
the Ravens are going to win the game.
Yeah. So now he's a jerk because now he's standing there wet, and you lost.
That is hilarious. And then that was a very uncharacteristic fumble by Lamar Jackson, but he didn't see it coming.
No, he just was and like
trying to make a play.
And to trying to make a play, knowing that like your team needs you, and he was just trying to make a play. It happens.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But he was under duress like all game.
But let's talk about that Raiders D line though. They have players. Carl Nassib is a player.
It wasn't even him. He didn't even start. It wasn't even him most of the time. It was Ndakwe.
Yeah.
And it was Max Crosby. Whenever they felt like getting to Lamar Jackson or causing pressure, they got there.
Listen, I want people to know, right? This is why I think Kansas City's road, if they get back to the Super Bowl, is going to be harder than ever. The Raiders have a team out there. Gruden has quietly built a solid foundation, and there's a lot of solid players on that roster. They don't have a lot of star power, but they can win football games by playing defense and taking care of the ball on offense. This is why I think people killed Derek Carr unfairly when, he's who he is. He doesn't have a superstar wide receiver. They drafted Ruggs. They got Zay Jones, and like everybody's like a second, third tier receiver.
He has a superstar tight end.
Yeah. He does have that.
Did you know
Darren Waller?
He was targeted 18 times Monday.
Listen, man, you throw to who's available. But that's my thing. John Gruden still manages to win ball games like that out there because no matter what people want to say about him, he's talented as a coach. He's getting a lot more out of that team than a lot of other coaches would.
18 targets?
Look, man, you throw to who's open. Right?
He wasn't open most of the time.
Listen, you just keep going to him. That's it. When he's your best player, he's the best player on the offense, probably on the team.
Feed him.
He's probably the best player on the team. This is what I thought Atlanta would do with Kyle Pitts, but evidently, just the opportunities weren't there against the Eagles, which I don't understand. Thanks a lot, Atlanta. But, it was just, I think Kansas City's road back. The Raiders are a respectable football team. The Broncos have a quarterback. We saw what they did Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah. Oh yeah. We'll get to that.
Too soon.
Yeah, no, I'm not trying to. We're talking about it because
The Chargers, Justin Herbert shredded Washington's defense.
Washington is a talent-wise a great defensive unit. The Chargers made quick work of them.
Might be Washington's defensive unit might be top 3 in the league.
Top 3 in the league. Listen, I got 1 fantasy point from Washington's defense. 1 fantasy point. They were good for 8 or 9 the last 3 years. Every week, I got 1 fantasy point from them. This is what I'm saying. Kansas City's going to have a tough road. The Raiders, look, they knocked off a really good team, and they're hungry.
Mm-hmm.
I think John Gruden knows the pressure is on, too. Right? Not that he's going to get fired, because he's not.
Mm-hmm.
He's got 10 years. He's got the 10-year deal or whatever. And what is this, year 4?
4.
Yeah, year 4. You got, and then there's no reason for him to go anywhere. They're not going to do any better by firing him now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's in Vegas. The people are bought in. You got time. It's a new city.
I think in that deal he can't get fired.
Oh, really? I know he's going to get paid regardless.
Yeah.
Because the contract is guaranteed or whatever. So it makes no sense to fire him.
Yeah, so he can get fired, but the 10 years is fully guaranteed.
Yeah, and I think it's what 10. It might be $10 million a year or something like that. Yeah, man. Look, man. God bless John Gruden. Right. Gruden's QB camp to riches, beyond your wildest imagination. But let's talk about another game. I was extremely disappointed because I wanted to see it, but I love the way Baker Mayfield played Kansas City and Cleveland. Mm-hmm. I thought that was a wild game. That was a great game.
Yeah.
I hated that Cleveland made the mistakes they did. The muffled punt. That was a heartbreaker, man.
That was the backbreaker.
I know what it said. I know what it's like to be part of that franchise that just can't get out of its own way in big games. I know what it's like.
Firsthand.
Yeah, firsthand. Being a Buffalo fan, small market, you just want your team to make that statement, and they can't figure it out quite yet. I felt bad for that punter. I felt bad for Baker Mayfield. I felt bad for the city of Cleveland, man.
That's what Kansas City capitalizes on.
Yeah.
Like, you can play them tough and make it a track meet, but they feed off of one mistake you do, and they kick the door in.
Yeah, because they play fast on both sides of the ball. They play fast. They play loose. Those guys are out there trying to make a play every single down. They're not worried about making a mistake. They're trying to make you make the mistake.
And then if you watch that game, like, all it took was that one miscue on the punt.
Yeah.
And Kansas City got a short field, scored, got a 3-and-out, scored again, and then
it was a wrap.
It's over.
It was a wrap. And I thought Baker played great, especially knowing that Odell was a healthy scratch.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to be a healthy scratch.
He's going to be a healthy scratch this week. What do you think's going on there?
I think they just it's an ACL, so I think they're just being cautious.
Oh, you think they're being cautious?
Yeah, I mean, and it's like if you were the head coach of Cleveland and you know Baker has a great relationship with the other wide receivers, you're not going to rush Odell back.
No, we don't need to rush him back, especially if I'm not totally comfortable with the way Odell's looking either. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to just let him sit. Yeah. There's no point in rushing him back because I honestly think Cleveland is one of the best rosters in football.
Yeah.
And top to bottom. And honestly, they're my pick for the AFC North. They're still my pick, man. I honestly think that if there's 4 teams in the conversation for the AFC, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore.
I still like Baltimore for the North.
And Cleveland. Cleveland's right there. I think they can beat anybody on any given day.
I still like I wasn't too thrilled with what I saw from Baltimore's tackles.
No.
Left and right tackle. They were like screen doors, both of them. And then that won't be good going against Clowney and Myles Garrett.
Man.
Won't be good.
Man.
But I like the Le'Veon Bell pickup for Baltimore. I like the Devontae Freeman pickup.
I'm one of the people that don't think Le'Veon Bell has anything left. I like Devontae Freeman because it gives them another dynamic coming out the backfield.
Murray.
Latavius Murray is a solid pickup, though. He runs hard.
Yeah.
He sticks his foot in the ground and goes. That's why I like Latavius Murray. Le'Veon Bell, I think, is done.
I think Le'Veon will be decent. I don't think he's going to be Pittsburgh Le'Veon, but I think he'll be better than Jets and Kansas City Le'Veon.
I think he is Jets Le'Veon or Kansas City Le'Veon. I don't think there's anything left.
I think with him going to Baltimore and then they're pretty much still running a read option, I think he'll be able to find creases because teams will be so worried about Lamar keeping the ball.
I got another question. Who were you more impressed by? Because we talked about this trade on this show. Jared Goff's performance in the near comeback against San Fran, or were you more impressed by Matthew Stafford with the Los Angeles Rams?
Matthew Stafford.
I was impressed by Stafford, but I'll have to say, Jared Goff almost made it happen.
He almost made it happen.
I had a Niners fan text me because they were up 38-10. He was making fun of my Bills. So, oh, you guys are in trouble. You're on the ropes. And we were down by like 6 at the time, right? And then I'm like, oh, well, at least we don't have to play the Lions. It was 38-10 in the third quarter. I turn around, it's 44-37, and the Lions are driving.
Yes.
I said, wow.
Yes.
This is supposed to be one of the most vaunted defensive units in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And Jared Goff was making short work of that defense. I will have to say I'm impressed, man. Even though I don't like the guy's game as a quarterback, and I don't think he's, a good quarterback at all. Mm-hmm. I think he's pretty much a tank quarterback or a bridge quarterback till they find their real guy.
He impressed me.
Yeah, that was impressive, man. That was an impressive comeback.
Because we were watching the game. I mean, I don't mean to rub it in, but we were, poolside watching the games on Sunday.
Yeah.
And then they had a big screen, and then they had DirecTV. So
yeah.
They had all the games. So we were watching the 49ers and Lions game on this channel, and then we were just watching. And then 38-10, I'm like, all right.
Cut this off.
Yeah, I don't. So now I'm paying attention to all the other games.
Right.
And then I glance, and I'm like, oh, Detroit it's a one-score game now.
Right. Yeah.
And it's like, can he do it?
Yeah. They had the strip fumble on Deebo Samuel.
Yeah.
Was that his name? Deebo Samuel?
Deebo.
Yeah. Deebo. They had the strip fumble on him, and I was like, wow,
Detroit,
this is getting crazy.
Detroit made it a game.
Yeah, man. Looking at the Rams, are they every bit as good as people think?
Yeah, they're good. They're as advertised.
I saw Cooper Kupp's game open up in a way that I haven't seen before.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, he doesn't have to run the same old route, the route combinations that he used to run. They can do a lot more with Matt Stafford because he's capable of connecting on a lot more.
He can throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, and he can hit all 4 quadrants of the field with ease.
Mm-hmm. He can make every throw.
Every single throw.
Every throw.
I was like, man, Cooper Kupp looked unstoppable. If this guy can stay healthy, listen, man, the Rams are my Super Bowl pick. Rams and Bills. But let's talk about the Bills, man. Did you catch any of that game?
Yeah, it was on.
It was the game, the national game in the country.
It was on.
They packed house in Buffalo.
You know what's crazy? That game was for the 1:00 games. That game was the main screen.
Yeah,
and then everything else was just like boxes.
What did you see? All right, let me put it to you like this: was the game more about what Buffalo didn't do or what Pittsburgh did?
I think it was a little bit of both. I think you have to give Pittsburgh some credit, but I think on the defensively for Buffalo, they did a horrible job of getting any pressure on Big Ben.
They got it in the first half, but it died out.
Yeah,
because
definitely died out. Y'all were winning at halftime.
Yeah,
and then in the second half, y'all didn't get him off his spot. Y'all allowed him to just stand tall in the pocket and then just find people. I just think it looked like y'all went to a bit of a zone.
Oh, that's what we do. Soft zone coverage.
And then was just soft zone. Ben was just really sitting there and all right, I want to throw it to you.
Yeah,
completion. I want to throw it to you now. Completion.
That's what it came. I was more impressed the fact that we shored up our run defense, which is something we've struggled with for the last how many years? 7. But
the block punt hurt y'all too.
The block punt was awful. That was a new punter. Yeah. People who don't know football don't realize that's on the punter. He's got to see that and call that out. But also, the guy that blocked it, that ended up getting the block, that started the jailbreak, came up the middle.
Up the middle.
How does that happen? The Buffalo, and what I found more unconscionable about the Bills, we threw 51 times.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the coordinators wanted to prove a point about Josh Allen and unveil this new attack with Emmanuel Sanders and Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis and Isaiah McKenzie and Cole Beasley, which, we're still a very vaunted offensive unit, but they tried too hard. They tried to force it instead of calling a more natural game plan, something more methodical. And Pittsburgh got pressure with 3 guys all day. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, they destroyed us. I think Cam Hayward had 15 pressures. TJ Watt had 9. He had a couple sacks too and a fumble.
That's a lot.
That is absurd. I mean, the offensive line was a turnstile all game. We refused to run the ball, even though we got 6.4 yards of carry when we did. We just tried to come out here and put up 700 yards. We thought it was the Big 12.
Yeah.
I was like, what is it? Pac-10 football. They just we threw the ball 51 times, man.
That's a trend. I saw that a lot week 1.
Listen, and there was a lot of teams that threw too much. Titans were one of them. They threw the ball way too much.
Cowboys is one of them.
Yeah. The Packers. Well, I don't even know what the Packers tried to do.
I don't even know what the hell that was.
But Buffalo went for it. They went for a trick play on 4th down that killed us too. We did a lot of unconscionable things. But let's talk about Aaron Rodgers, man. What do you think about his performance against the Saints?
You know what? We could go back. Once we save this, we could go back. I don't think Aaron Rodgers will ever have another game like that.
I think he was pulling the James Harden.
Yeah, I think week 1, I think Aaron Rodgers was uninterested.
He was extremely uninterested in playing decent football, but I also think there was some tank going on there.
Yeah, I think
it was intentional, man.
I think he just was like, I think he probably was just sticking it to the front office like this what will happen if I'm not here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now I think I'm sorry, Lions, but like y'all got Green Bay on Monday night. I think Aaron Rodgers is gonna go for like 3.
He gonna light him up. 5 touchdowns, 400 yards, 450.
Yeah, I think he's gonna kill the Lions.
But let's talk about Jameis Winston, man.
Jameis, you know what?
He didn't have much resistance from the Packers because they were dealing with short fields and whatnot. But
I'm not gonna say that I was overly impressed with Jameis because I saw Jameis do this before.
Yeah.
I saw Jameis have 5 touchdowns.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I saw Jameis put up close to 400 yards.
National Player of the Year.
Yeah, I saw this.
Lost 1 game in 2 years.
You know what I mean? So I wasn't overly impressed with Jameis. It's just like I know what Jameis can do. When you allow him to just but what I am impressed is with the Saints. Like now you have a quarterback that can throw the ball. You know what I mean? Even though like Drew Brees is great, Hall of Fame, first ballot, but he became dink and dunk.
It was funny. Drew Brees joked about it. He said, yeah, the Saints look good now that they have a quarterback that can throw the ball down the field. I thought that was funny. It was a good self-deprecation, man. I enjoyed that from Drew Brees. At least he was honest about it.
Yeah, now you can't go into the game when New Orleans saying like, all right, we can eliminate the big play.
You're right.
We're going to just try to force everything, let them catch it in front of us.
Yeah, and all the talent is still there, even without Michael Thomas being available. Yeah. And if he decides to come back and participate, which I don't know if it's going to happen because he doesn't seem like he wants to be there. But if he decides to come back, Jameis Winston could have an MVP type of season down there because I don't see much resistance in that division. I mean, you got Sam Darnold. They looked okay against the Jets. They looked solid. And I was happy for Sam Darnold sticking it to the Jets, you know, because he never got a fair shake.
I still think Tampa is going to, run away with that division. But the Saints have the opportunity to make it close.
Real quick, how long until Justin Fields starts?
Week 4.
I said week 4. Usually I try to give people week 6, but week 4.
Week 4.
Here was a game that wasn't interesting at all because they got hammered. The Jaguars and Houston, because Tyrod Taylor just lit the Jaguars up. What I want to know is, first of all, I want to bring up this crazy stat before I forget it. Trevor Lawrence experienced his first regular season loss of his life. He's never lost a game in the regular season in high school or college.
Nope.
All 4 years.
Yep.
That is wild. That was his first loss ever. And, he had 3 touchdowns, 3 picks, and, he's figuring it out. It was a rookie game.
Rookie game.
Yeah, people got to remember, Peyton Manning led the league in picks. He threw more picks than touchdowns his rookie year.
Yes.
I remember watching that. It was Marshall Faulk, being his security blanket, making him look respectable that year. Yeah. Let's talk about the Giants and the Broncos. What do you think went wrong with New York, man? We speak highly of New York on this podcast. What do you think went wrong, man?
The offense is just like it's too vanilla. It's
Not dynamic enough.
No, it's like we got the weapons,
Yeah.
but it's just like they don't like it's what the Cowboy fans were telling me about Jason Garrett. Like he's not willing to open it up.
It's not inventive or creative. You don't see a lot of pre-snap motion. You don't see a lot of switching of the formations.
No. And it's like my defense is the best part of the team.
Yeah.
And when you see the Melvin Gordon run against us for the touchdown, or you see Teddy, escaping the pocket, it's like when you go out there and a team drives on you like 8-9 plays, and then when we finally get maybe forced into a field goal or a punt, and then when the offense come in and it's like 3 and out, and the defense got to come back on the field. If you keep doing that constantly, I don't care how good your defense is, you're gonna give up points.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then that's what it seemed like. And it's funny. I called watching the game in Vegas, and I called it. We were driving. We had a pretty good drive. And my friend, that I went to Vegas with, he's a Giants fan. And then we were talking to like a Patriots fan or whatever. And I was like, as we were coming out the huddle, and I was like, yo, I'm sorry to say this, but a turnover is about to happen. And that was the play. Daniel Jones, nothing was open, took off running, got the first down, got hit, fumbled.
Yeah.
And they looked at me, and I'm like, I just know, like,
you know your team.
It was going too good.
Listen, you know your team.
Like, how do you fumble when you're holding the rock with 2 hands and you still fumble?
Yeah.
After that fumble, it was just like we were in the red zone. And at the time, the score was, I believe the score was 17-10.
Yeah.
17-7, I think, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We convert where the game is different.
Right.
We turn that ball over, they go down there and score. It's like I don't know.
I've been holding out hope for Daniel Jones. I'm one of the people that thought he's talented enough, he's good enough to make it.
I think this is it.
Yeah. Look, he's got the leash. I think is going to get shorter and shorter. Who's the backup quarterback up there?
Nobody. Mike Glennon.
Yeah.
Like,
no.
Like the
I didn't even know Glennon was still in the league.
Yeah, I didn't know neither until we signed him.
Oh wow.
For all that, we should have kept Colt McCoy. At least he went to Seattle and got us a win last year. I know like this is like the cliche answer is it's only one game.
Yeah.
But the schedule doesn't get any easier.
No, not at all.
Like
no.
Short week, we play Washington. You know what I mean? Even though he's never lost against Washington, but the way the offensive line played.
Ryan Fitzpatrick is out, man.
He's out 8 weeks.
8 weeks, yeah, man. Tyler Heineke.
It's just like we need to win this game, but I won't be shocked if we lose, because it's funny. I had a Facebook memory that popped up on my phone today. The Giants started 0-2 last year. And I was like, starting off 0-2, it seems to be a yearly thing.
Yeah.
So we're 0-1, staring at 0-2 again. But, you know what I mean? I'm a Giants fan. You know what I mean? I've been through
this. You're going to ride with him, man. We don't switch teams over here,
I've been
man.
through this. You know what I mean? So I know I've seen us start off slow and get hot. I've seen us start off slow and then like work our way into a respectable record.
Right.
But he needs to turn it around. If we don't do anything this season, like this will be his last season as the starting quarterback for the Giants.
Yeah, man. Yeah, this is it. He's all out of chances.
This is it.
Real quick, we're gonna do the Cowboys Buccaneers. Your thoughts on that game?
The Cowboys impressed me.
I thought they win that game. First of all, their kicker was point shaven.
Mm-hmm.
Greg Zuerlein.
Mm-hmm.
But they really need some blocking tight ends, because if Blake Jarwin blocks for Zeke, down in the red zone inside the 10 or when on that pass out to the flats, that's a whole different ball game. Cowboys are probably in position to win that game because I thought Dak did everything he was supposed to do, and he's top 10 quarterback in the NFL, probably top 7, top 8. He's up there. I got to really sit down and do my list. But I thought Dak showed up and showed out.
People are going to Dak put up numbers.
Yeah.
On a great
against a great defense.
Yes.
Great on defense. The road.
What hampered the Buccaneers was their secondary, not the secondary corners, because Antoine Winfield is good. Their corners are thin. And when you lose probably your best corner early in that game to a dislocated elbow,
yeah,
the Cowboys did what you're supposed to do.
Attacked.
Go after.
Yeah, the other guy. The other guy was under duress all night.
They killed him.
Yeah.
But Dak threw the ball 58 times? That's a lot.
That is a ridiculous amount of passing.
And
are they low managing Zeke? I don't understand.
There was a report from a Cowboy source.
Yeah.
Saying that the Cowboys called 33 run plays for Zeke.
Yeah.
And Dak audible out of them.
Wow. That's an egregious number. That means Dak audibled out of a quarter and a half worth of plays. That's probably a whole half, 2 quarters worth of plays. So I don't know if I believe that one, man.
And
I'm not sitting here as the Dak defender, but that's a huge. I'm not so sure you could keep that under wraps if Dak audibles out of almost every run play that they call.
I hope it's false.
I hope it's false too.
I hope it's false. But to only get 12 rushing, 12 carries,
that's crazy.
For Zeke, that's crazy.
That is crazy. And I feel like he's being low managed like I felt last year. Last year I understood it because they were losing. And why do you want to break them down when you're not going to win anyway and winning won't benefit you?
But like the game was close to where running the ball is still could be effective.
Yeah.
And it's just like they would not give him the ball.
No, just switch it up, switch up the pace. I just felt like they were on that drug that we're coming out throwing. The same drug the Bills were on and a couple of other teams. Tennessee Titans, they were on that same drug too. Just trying to fire the ball against really good defenses. I don't understand what's going on.
The Cowboys got hit with the injury bug too.
Yeah, DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot today in practice.
DeMarcus Lawrence broke his foot.
Big time injury.
Michael Gallup is out for like 6 weeks.
That is wild.
And Lyle Collins is out for 5 weeks.
That is wild, man. But like I said, I at what point are they going to demand or they're going to try to get their money's worth out of Zeke? Because if it's me, you're a running back. This is probably your last year in your physical prime. I'm going to wring you out like a mop. I'm going to get every last drop of my top money out of you.
You would think you just gave him $90 million and then you only give him 12 carries opening night.
Right.
You would think like, all right, Dak coming back, so we're gonna ease Dak into it and we're gonna, run the ball.
Right.
And they just was like, no, Dak, you just go. So
crazy, man, crazy. But it was a great weekend of football. It feels good to have football back. We're not gonna talk about college football.
Please don't.
Yeah, we're not gonna do that.
Please don't.
And we're out of time. So
yeah.
Pick and Roll Podcast. It's another great episode. Check back with us after week 2. Hopefully our teams can bounce back. Buffalo has Miami this week. I predict the win, but Giants, I predicted one last week.
Giants is tomorrow.
Giants tomorrow against the Redskins, man.
Yeah.
That's right, man. Get ready, y'all. 17-13 Giants.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game or a game that you really want to watch.
No, I like it.
If you're not a fan of either team, I don't think it's going to be a fast and loose sort of ball game.
I think
it's going to be played kind of tight.
I like 17-13. I think we'll win if Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over.
That's I can see 20-13, 2016, 17-13, like around that. Yeah.
If we get 20, we better win because we don't score.
I'm just not so sure Tyler Heineke's going to jumpstart that offense the way Ryan Fitzpatrick has the capability to get going.
And besides Fitzpatrick out, Curtis Samuels is out for like 6 to 8 weeks.
Damn, man. Injury bug is serious in the NFL after one game, man. Yeah. There's Raheem Mostert from the Niners. He's out for the season.
The Niners just get
and they lost the middle linebacker.
Yeah, the Niners just get hit.
They what is going on out there? That's what I want to know.
They just get hit.
That is wild, man. That is wild. But yeah, check us out on YouTube, Indio Group, Pick and Roll Podcast, episode 22. It's in the books. Find us on Facebook. I'm going to be posting this episode there later tonight once this thing finishes uploading and finishing and getting all digital and pixelating and doing whatever computers do. And yeah, we'll definitely be back next week. But I want to thank everybody that tuned in, and we are out of here.
Hey, yo, I trade you